Hello, hello, and welcome into the weekly mixing stream. We are mixing a song called Shakin. It is a cover of an old Eddie Money song, kind of a cool song, a little bit more straightforward rock here. So we've got drums, bass, electrics, piano, lead vocal, and then some background vocals, kind of call and answer type vocals. But as always, if you want to mix along with the stream, the link at the top of the chat or at the top of the description, you can download these multi-tracks completely for free. So you can mix along here with me, or you can just use them for your own mixing practice. And there's actually like a year's worth of multi-tracks on that page now. It's been like, I think it was like September of last year that I started doing these weekly streams with the multi-tracks available. So been a year, lots and lots of multi-tracks. They're all completely free with links back to all of the streams. So grab any of them that you want, and you can follow along with the stream, or you can just use them for your own practice. But we're mixing a song called Shakin' here today. I do have my mix bus processing in place. Got my reference tracks pulled in. So everything's kind of running into this mix A here first, which is my pseudo style mix bus processing. So the console shaper, only thing on is the drive, but it is set at 0 here. Then into a mix bus compressor, still using this Studio One, the PreSonus Brit Comp. I really, really love the way this sounds, and I love the way it reacts to the mix. It's a little bit different than your usual SSL style compressor. Threshold's at -1.6, 2-to-1 ratio, 30 millisecond attack, 100 millisecond release, and then we've got a dB of makeup gain because we're only going to do about maybe 2, maybe 3 dB reduction. At the end of this chain here is the soft tube tape machine. This is probably my favorite so far. I haven't extensively used the Slate one, but I've used some of the Wave ones like the Kramer tape and stuff like that. This is my favorite, especially on the B type here. It gives me the most bottom end warmth, and I really like that extra depth it adds. Running it on 30 inches per second here as well, just 5.1 on the amount, so I click up from default. That's my mix bus processing, and that runs into my actual mix bus, which is just running a limiter. So this is a little bit of mastering style limiting, bumps the volume of the track up by 6 dB into a -1 dB ceiling. So I'm getting that little bit of mastering style limiting, but if you notice, I pull my main output down by about 6 dB. So I get that mastering style limiting and gain without having to listen super, super loud, so my ears don't get tired really fast. This mix B here is a little bit of parallel compression, parallel processing we're going to do on the mix bus later down the line here. So I'm going to scroll over. We're going to start with our kick drum here, and we're going to start putting this mix together. So here's our kick drum. So if we zoom out, it doesn't look too dynamic. I'm thinking maybe -11 with our limiter here. Let's see, are there any bigger peaks we're missing? I've got one here. Oh, so there in our pre-chorus, we've got one that's a little crazy. So that section there is where we're getting a little crazy. So I'm going to back this down to 10, and I'm just going to double up and maybe bring it down to -11. Let's see a quieter section and see kind of where our kick drum is sitting. Maybe this third verse here. Let's see if we're still hitting. I'm actually going to pull that all the way down to grab these little guys. That feels better. So we've got this kind of quieter verse section that comes out of the bridge section, and I still want the kick drum to feel powerful. I want there to be dynamics, but I don't want it to drop all the way off and like lose a bunch of bottom end in that section. Okay. A little bit of ringing there. That feels good though. Compression next. I usually like to shoot for anywhere between like 8 and 9 dB reduction. 8.5 seems really good. You can hear it really just tightens up our kick drum. It adds a lot of punch, emphasizes that front end attack there. Need to get some top end on this though for sure. I like that. Sounds really good actually. I like that. All right, I'm gonna click this down because we're gonna add bottom. Bottom's gonna add volume. That feels great. That's a really great starting point. I'm going to click the snare up here and take a look at this. All right, we're going to need some limiting here for sure. That's an aggressive snare. Let's see. We've got some big ones here in this verse. Let's see where we're sitting. Okay, so that's our crazy one, it looks like. So if we go to 9, is that too much? Yes, so let's go to 8. Not bad. We've got some bigger ones here at the end. I'm actually going to turn off the fade out for the moment. I think there's some automation on the mix bus. I'm just going to click that off. We'll click that on at the end when we need that. Okay, I think we're safe there. Some of these at the front look really big though. Okay, so we're going to pull that down, copy it down, and we'll come down to 10 and kind of see where we're sitting like in this bridge section. That's better. So we're kind of crushing our snare there, not really crushing it sound-wise, but really clamping down on some of those bigger transients so we can get a more even snare going into our EQ or our compressor. I want the snare to sit really nicely in the mix. A little bit of compression. About 6 dB or so. Now we'll add some top. And then we do need a lot of mid-range here. Kind of scoop. Now, that's a huge boost, so I'm going to throw a limiter after our compressor too and kind of see if we went, yeah, crazy with it. So that's still too much. Let's go down to 9. Just catch some of those big guys. Better. And then some bottom. I might put, this is a lot of limiting on the snare, but I can't get it to, that's better. Doesn't quite feel like I got that guy there, so let's find that. Overheads. Now toms are kind of just rocking in mostly in the verses. A little bit of attack. It doesn't feel like they need any bottom, honestly. Half dB. Here's our room mic. Cool, let's blend that in. And then let's click up the room, the stereo room. I'm digging that. That's cool. I'm going to loop the solo here for a second. The solo section, we're going to look at the bass guitar. Got the frequency split trick going on here. So DI is just the bottom end. Amp is just the top end. You know what? Lately, I always cut here around 200 because I think it's muddy and I think there's buildup. And then I get to the end of the mix and I end up boosting like this 200-300 hertz area. So I'm gonna try and leave it alone, but. That might actually be okay after some multiband. even out the bottom end here. A little bit of breakups, no, not a big deal. Help us hear the bass in the mix. I just want to check the bottom here. I don't know if I'm happy with that yet. Let's look at our electrics here. Besides maybe some mid-range and then some bottom at the end, this might be okay. I'm going to hit him with a little bit of multi-band, try and even out the top and bottom. like that. Got some heat to them. There's our piano. Okay, I'm feeling good about that. I like the level of the guitars and the piano against the drums and bass. It sounds really, really good. I'm happy with that. Let's kind of blend in the lead guitar here, and we might work the solo area, and then we'll probably have to automate it down for the rest of the song, except maybe the intro section. We'll see. That's crying for some multi-band, but actually, what I've kind of liked lately is try and soothe on lead guitars. What if we did both? Why not? I don't mind that on the guitar. I did get rid of Soothe. It was sounding too hollowed out with Soothe on there. I know it's pulling down some of those resonant frequencies that are jumping out on the guitar, but it was feeling too scooped and too hollowed out sounding. So I landed on just using the multiband here. I'm gonna automate on and off this mix tool here in different sections. So I want it on most of the way through the song, and then we'll turn it off for pretty much just the solo here, I think. So when we get to the solo, oh no, it's the opposite way. So on the solo, we want it off because we're going to automate the verses down. So I'm going to leave it on in the intro as well. So we'll do this. So once we get into our normal chorus and verse sections, our lead guitar is going to be down 3 dB. We get to our solo, it's going to kick back up. Same thing for the whole ending here. We don't want our guitar getting in the way of our vocal or anything like that. But during our solo, we want that thing front and center. Concerned maybe that snare is sticking out too much. So let's do like -9 and kind of see where we're... I can deal with that at like -6. Okay, I like how that's holding together, especially in that quieter bridge to verse section there. Let's get this lead vocal kind of set in here now. Close that for a moment because we don't need that.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and...
Let's just slam this with the compressor. Kind of see if we can get it really even.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking.
I like that.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking. Snapping her fingers. She was moving round and Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking. Snapping her fingers. Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride.
A little bit of de-essing and some top end control here, 3K and above with the multiband.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking.
I like that.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would. Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking. Snapping her fingers.
Doesn't look like there's too much stuff sticking out.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go.
think we're going to lean on some of that slap delay for effects on the vocal, but I do want to get it probably referenced first to make sure everything is okay frequency and balance wise before we start piling on some effects here. Going about 45 minutes, so we want to make sure my ears aren't lying to me at this point, especially mixing on headphones. But then we've got our backgrounds to go, and our backgrounds are just whoas, I think. Yeah. So those won't be too much trouble. Let's get our vocal set in. I think I want to check it probably in the verse here. You know what? That's not a bad place to check it, though. That'll work for referencing. Okay. Effects-wise for the vocal, we're going to dial probably in the slap, and the plate is probably what we'll lean on most, but some of this stereo delay might be nice as well. So let's kind of get those set up, and then we'll jump into referencing on the vocal. So the slap delay, just a stereotypical 100 millisecond slap delay, no feedback, all the way up on the dry wet knob. And I am using the low cut and high cut in here, 500 hertz on the low cut, 3K on the high cut. So we're really, really focused on just that mid-range area. And then I got the drive cranked all the way up. So it's a distorted slapback delay, that will blend in. The plate reverb we'll use on the vocal is an impulse response of the A plate, from the Lexicon 480 reverb, 2-second plate reverb with a 152 millisecond pre-delay, 151.5, and then little EQ on the back end, rolling off everything below 300, everything above 10K, and then notching out a little bit of 1.2K, so there's no nastiness in the mid-range. This is something new I've been using lately. This is a stereo delay, stereo quarter note that I have set up. So I'm just using the splitter plugin here inside of Studio One to get access to the left and the right channel on this effects return, and I've got a delay on the left and then a delay on the right. So on the left channel, we're going to go, so our quarter note's 521, we're going to go 10 back from that, 10 milliseconds short, so 511 on this side, and then on the right side, we're going to go 10 milliseconds long of a quarter note. So on each side, we're going to be split off from a quarter note by 10 milliseconds, but in the opposite direction. So it's going to give us this nice stereo interplay. And then we do have a compressor at the end of the chain, which is going to give us some dynamic delay going on here. So every time our vocal's going, what's going to happen is we're going to duck the delay. So that's our DDL, right? Our dynamic ducking delay. And we're side-chained from the vocal. So if we open up our vocal here, you can see we're sending from the vocal into the input of this compressor. So every time the lead vocal's going, this delay is going to be compressed down. And then when the lead vocal stops, it'll let go and our delay will come up to fill the gap. Let's kind of just look at this first verse. We'll set the threshold.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride.
That's fine, like 7, 8 dB reduction, and then it lets go, and that'll come up and fill the gap. So those are all set up. We can pull those up as needed. Excuse me. Let's roll over here, and let's start referencing those. So I'm going to look at the bottom end first, and it actually sounds like we can reference against the original a little bit as well here. As I was kind of flipping back and forth, the original didn't sound so far-fetched that we can't reference against it. So flip to mono here. If you are listening on subs, Just keep in mind, I've got the volume cranked up here quite a bit, even though we are just listening to a very small frequency range. If you're listening on big subs or big speakers, this is going to be a little bit loud, so keep that in mind. Kick the bass up a little bit. The original's not too far off. It's lacking a little bit of bottom, but the original has a lot of definition. Cool. All right, let's move up a frequency range here and move up an octave. We're going to do 50 to 100 hertz here. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Kick drum sounds good. Bass is sounding good. I love the definition on the bass in the original, but it's so specific to like one note. Okay, let's move up here. Let's jump to the top end and kind of see how our vocal is sitting. See if we went too far with the top end. See how our kick and snare are sitting up in the top end. Sounds like we could... Yeah. I feel like I want to add a little bit more click to the kick drum. Let's see. Okay, that feels good. Let's move down an octave here. So 5K to 10K we're going to look at now. Cool. I like that as well. That sounds good. 2K to 5K, so a little over an octave, but nothing crazy. Cool. All right, down 1K to 2K, so kind of looking at our dipping into our mid range here. We've definitely got more definition on things like our snare, which is really, really nice. 500 to 1K, another octave. That feels great too. Let's keep moving. 200 to 500, so another little over an octave range. I feel like we could do a click up here and be okay. Feel like maybe on the guitar. So I'm going to come here and I'm just going to click that up a little bit. So on our vocal, And on our guitars, we get a little bit more kind of low mid area. And we'll check last little frequency range here, 100 to 250. I like where the bass sits though. I'm gonna add a touch more on our vocal here. Okay, I think we're okay. So let's come back down. Let's finish off.
She was up and down. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking, tapping her fingers. She was moving. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking, tapping her fingers. She was making. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking, tapping her fingers. She was moving right. Rosetta's had a car she loved to drive. Stole the key and took me for. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night. Rosetta's had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night. She was up and down and right. We started drinking. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Rosetta's daddy car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a. Rosetta's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking, tapping her fingers. She was making, snapping her fingers. She was moving round and round. That girl was shaking. We started drinking, wasn't thinking too straight. She was doing anything, she slammed on the brakes. It got so high we had to pull to the.
All right, I'm gonna loop this chorus section here, and we're gonna start getting these background vocals dialed in really quick.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So we shouldn't need to look too much at.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
I want these to be pretty even. We'll leave a little bit of lift on the back end. Better? Cool. And then they need some mid. Cool, we'll copy that down. I think we had a pair in, it was a pair in falsetto and a pair in chest.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, 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 oh,
Some top. A little bit of soothe.
oh, oh, that girl was shaking, 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 snapping her fingers. She was up and down and round and round, shaking, shaking, snapping her fingers. She was up and down and round and round. That girl was shaking, shaking, snapping her fingers. She was up and down and round and round. That girl was shaking.
I'm going to put a little bit of this longer reverb here, this flat plate reverb. It is a 6-second plate reverb. I'm going to put a little bit of this on the woes. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit of parallel compression. Wanted to say multi-band compression. A little bit of parallel compression on the entire mix. Then we're gonna do 2 final listen-throughs. We'll listen through all the way through the song on the headphones here. See if anything's sticking out, if there's any remaining issues, problems with the mix, and then we'll do 1 final listen through on the mains here in the room before we call this thing done. All this parallel compression is doing is I'm sending from mix A, which is my pseudo mix bus with the console shaper and the compressor and the tape machine, sending from that full signal into mix B here. And I've got this 33609 style compressor. We're gonna do about 7 to 10 dB reduction. So threshold's at -10, 100 millisecond recovery, 8 dB a gain because we're going to do so much compression, 2-to-1 ratio, but then after it, I'm adding 3 dB at 60 and 3 dB at 7K. So we're going to blend this up underneath to get some extra energy out of the entire mix. We're going to do it in mono as well. So
Snapping her fingers, she'll be moving up and down, round and round and round, and she was shaking, shaking, snapping her fingers, snapping her fingers, she'll be moving up and down, round and round and round, and she was shaking, she was shaking. She was shaking, snapping her fingers. She'll be moving round and round. Oh, she was shaking, shaking, snapping her fingers. She'll be moving up and down, round and round and round, and she was shaking. She was shaking. She was shaking.
all right, I'm kind of digging that. Let's listen through the entire track here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the main up to 0 here. So pull the volume down on the stream a little bit, so you'll be listening at pretty much the same volume that it's been the whole time here. I'm going to listen a little bit louder than where I was. I was listening quieter than it was going out to the stream because I don't want you guys to hear quiet mix while my voice is really loud over the top of it. So now we're zeroed out here. We're going to listen all the way through the song, make sure everything is okay, and then we'll do 1 final listen through on the mains here in the room and see if we missed anything. It's usually any kind of harshness or anything that slips through that I find on the main. So one full listen through here on headphones to start.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking, snapping her fingers. She was moving round and round. That girl was shaking. We started drinking, wasn't thinking too straight. She was doing 80, then she slammed on the brakes. It got so high we had to pull to the side. We did some shaking to the middle of the night. Shaking, snapping her fingers. She was up and down and round and round. That girl was shaking, shaking.
Okay, the only thing I kind of heard was I clicked the reverb up on the lead vocal. Oh, I did click the lead guitar down overall as well. But I think we're good. Let's take a listen all the way through on the mains here in the room. Kind of see if we missed anything, harshness wise, balance wise. Let's see where this thing is sitting.
Rosanna's daddy had a car she loved to drive. Stole the keys one night and took me for a ride. Turn up the music just as loud as it would go. Blew out the speakers of her daddy's radio. She was shaking, snapping her fingers. She was moving round and round. That girl was shaking. We started drinking, wasn't thinking too straight. She was doing A, then she slammed on the brakes. It got so high we had to pull to the side. We did some shaking to the middle of the night. Shaking, snapping her fingers. She was up and down and round and round. That girl was shaking.
All right, I'm happy with that. The only tweak I made there as we listened through the final time was I kicked the lead vocal up just a half dB, a half click, and it sounded great. It set really nicely, especially in those verse sections with the big toms going. It felt like it was struggling to compete just a little bit. So one click up, that felt really nice. Everything else sat really well. I didn't hear any harshness on the vocal. The only spot that kind of bothered me, but it wasn't enough to kind of go in and search for frequencies to try and pull out on the vocal, was just the swell going into the final verse. There was kind of a little bit of harshness, a little bit of edginess there, but it wasn't enough for me to go and search for it. Same thing with the cymbals. I didn't hear any cymbal spots that were overly harsh. They had just enough emphasis on them to bring the drums up on some of those downbeats. Nothing stuck out to me. That felt really nice. So I'm super happy with how that one came out. As always, make sure you use the link at the top of the chat, top of the description. You can download these multi-tracks completely for free. There's tons and tons of other multi-tracks on that page as well. It links back to all of the streams that go along with them. So you can grab any of the multi-track sets that you want, go back to any of the streams, and you can follow along. You can mix along with me, or you can choose them for your own mixing practice. They're completely free, no charge there to download. Thank you so much for hanging with me for another stream here. I try to do these every Wednesday at 1 p.m. here Central Time in the US. But other than that, that's going to do it here for today. Thank you so much for joining me here for another one. Hope these are helpful, and I will see you in the next one.